For a while, the poverty line has been consistent since the start of most companies. Andrew Carnegie, a businessman who had a company in providing and selling steel in the East Coast during the Industrial Revolution, noted that not many of his workers had the same luxuries as him. For him, this was a problem. Workers who performed tedious and dangerous labor were not paid enough to be able to provide food for their families. Instead of giving better wages to his workers, Carnegie donated a large sum of money to help improve the living conditions of people who resided in very poor communities by building libraries and homes. This is a serious topic, so let's cut off the funny business. And enough with the helmet. The people who are affected by minimum wage are those who are currently working at fast food chains. According to Gary Strauss, writer for USA Today, stated that workers from McDonald's and other fast food chains conducted strikes in over 50 cities because they couldn't live off $7.25 an hour. One striker stated, "Most people here have a family to support, and most people here have barely enough to make ends meet. This is sad. We should change that." I have a friend named Narciso who works at Taco Bell. He makes about $8.25 an hour. Unfortunately, he lives by himself. He moved out from his parents a while back. But even though he moved out, $8.25 an hour isn't enough for him to survive. Due to the lack of wage he earns at Taco Bell, he is currently working 3 jobs. This is something that is just terrible for people in society to do. Because of this, we should change the minimum wage.
Thanks, Angel. First, I will discuss a problem that is situated with the current minimum wage. In the 1960s, gas was only about 15 to 40 cents a gallon. Now, only 50 years later, it has been raised to nearly $4.50 a gallon. It is a given that business and companies, big or small, private or public, like making profits. They are paying so little to their workers and anyone who is making the minimum wage. There are people who are saving money to help pay rent, buy clothes, and transportation from work to school or even hang out with family and friends. According to Mike Comm, a journalist from the Washington Post, published an article on January 4th, 2014, titled "Economists Agree, Raising the Minimum Wage Reduces Poverty," and discusses that by raising the minimum wage by 10%, it diminishes the number of individuals who are currently living in poverty by only 2%. If the minimum wage is risen, it would lead to a 30% increase on people who are living in poverty and allowing them to have more flexibility to purchase objects that they would have bought on their leisure time. Now that I have discussed the problems with the current minimum wage, I will move on to its causes. My friend Diego here is a political science major, and we're going to play a quick game of Truth or Dare. Diego?
Truth or dare?
Dare.
Dare, okay. I dare you to give me the causes of our current minimum wage.
Since I've just been dared, I will now share a little information about the causes of the current minimum wage. Most companies in today's society would prefer to hire a greater number of employees and pay them at least $8.25 an hour instead of having few workers and paying them at least $10 an hour.
Go. And Brian Starmer's article, raising the minimum wage to 10 times, will use growth by 22 million in 2015. The states that increasing the minimum will increase consumer spending, personal experience, and they increase the minimum to $8. And I saw with food and gas prices inflating by today. So I believe that if the minimum goes up, the prices should stay up, and employees can see a difference in the price. Look, Angeles Times published an article titled "Raise the Minimum Wage" on September 13, 2013. It talked about a full-time minimum wage employee who barely makes enough to stay above the poverty line, only earning about $15,000 a year. If increasing the minimum wage to 10.10 means that the economy will grow, then I approve it. However, if they raise the minimum and they raise the gas prices, home living and food, there's no point in raising the minimum for the reason that everything's in the state of things. Employees believe that they're going to give a profit and work extra. And Bryce Covert's article raising the minimum wage to 10.10. To conclude, We believe that the minimum should be increased to 10-10 for all the employees to have a better life for them and their family members. As we saw in the 3 sources we got our information from, minimum wage cannot let you live a normal life, for the reason that you will probably make enough to pay bills and buy food, not enough to have a life of freedom and vacation. The government should give an opportunity to the poor to have a better lifestyle for them and their children and for the future. My name is Guillermo Hernandez and I approve this message.